Okay, so I'm going to start, and today is Monday, the 25th, I think, right? Okay, our unit, Tiare, is about no way, no way. That's the name of the unit, and it's 3D. And what is the objective of this unit? The objective is to tell stories. This is the idea, to tell stories, okay? So as a way of warming up, that's to say to have a warm up about the unit, I want to make you some questions, okay? Well, for example, it's called, as I told you before, telling stories, right? Well, you cannot see the picture, right? If I show you a picture, Tiare, for example, can you see this or not? ¿Tú puedes ver? Can you see this image? ¿La puedes ver?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Can you, so as to warm up, just to warm up, this unit, I want you to tell me, as a kind of a story, what is happening in this picture and where the situation is, what the place is, right? If it is in the United States or in other part of the world, and what these people, you see some people there? Yeah. Can you tell me a kind of a story with this, a picture?
I think that uh, two person,
Yeah. Two people. Yeah.
two
Two
people
people.
are riding on a bicycle
Yeah. Yes. They are riding a bicycle. Yes.
around the.
Hello, Kim.
Sorry, es que no me funcionaba el link por algún motivo.
Okay. Yeah. Go on. Wait a minute. Tiare, wait a minute. Espera un poquito. Wait a minute. Let's say hello to Kim is with us too. And I'm going to tell her that we are working with the unit, 3D. Kim, 3D. No way. So what I'm doing first is I am warming up, having a warm up with the unit. That's why I am showing this picture to Atiare, because she's telling me a kind of, what she sees here, but as a story, you see? So just to, let's say, to start thinking about what we are going to study in Unit 3D, that is about telling stories. Okay, Tiare, now you can go on, please.
Okay, two people are riding on a bicycle around the beach, and they are and they are watching for a puente.
Yeah, bridge.
For a bridge,
Yes.
and that is, I think.
Okay, so this is your story. Okay, that you see, this is, maybe two friends, for example, have decided, to get up very early in the morning, and they start, riding, along a beach. Maybe this is a bridge, right? Or near the beach, near the bridge. This is this is a very important bridge. It's called Golden Bridge. Kimberly, can you help us? In what way? Imagine, use your imagination, right? Try to tell or invent, a story with this picture. This is the Golden Bridge. This is the name, Tiare, Golden Bridge. This bridge is located in the United States, right? Okay, this is in California.
Okay.
Yeah, Kimberly, can you?
I just have to make up a story using the image?
Yeah, using this image. Invent a story. Say, for example, you see there are two people here, right? And this is in California, right? Do you know where this bridge is?
I've seen it before, but not really.
No? It's
San
in San Francisco. San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Can you tell me about this place?
Okay. So two friends are going for a ride on their bicycle to do some exercise.
Yeah.
And they're enjoying the view.
Okay.
Of this very magical place.
Okay. All right. Yes. You see, this was just to start. Having a warm up of this unit 3D, which is about telling stories. So if you go to the unit in the first part that says real life, telling stories, right? Well, here it says, first it says work in groups. So we have you and Tiare, right? That says Which of these statements from A to E are true for you? So you tell, for example, Kimberly, you can tell Tiare about the things that you consider are true for you. For example, A says, when I'm in a group, I listen more than I talk. Or B, when I always telling funny stories about things that happened to me. I like jokes, but I can never remember the punchline. D, I'm hopeless at telling stories, but I am a good listener. And then E says that people say I exaggerate, but they always laugh at my stories. Okay, can you tell, for example, Kimberly, to Tiare about, the things that are true for you in these statements from A to E?
Yes, I
Okay.
think that the letter A is true for me sometimes.
Yeah, okay. Speak as much as you can, Tiare. Feel free, feel comfortable, because the idea is to help you. In order to have in the near future a good test, right? Maybe in the listening, in speaking, in grammar, etc. So please talk as much as you can. All right? Good. This is the only statement that is true for you?
Mm,
Is there another one that you can find that can be true for you?
letter letter D too.
Yeah, okay. What does it say? What does it say? What does letter D say?
I'm hopeless at telling histories, but
Stories.
I'm good. I
Stories.
am a good listener.
You're a good listener. Okay, good. And
I
what
agree with
about,
that.
yeah, what about Kimberly? What about you, Kimberly?
I think for me, letter C, it's true because I like jokes, but I'm not really good with like telling jokes. So I can
Yeah,
never find, I can never remember the punchline or
the
something like that.
punchline. Okay. Yeah, there are many people that sometimes, forget the punchline. Good. And what about your case, Tiare? Do you remember sometimes the punchline of jokes, for example?
No, I never remembered it.
Yeah. Yeah, some people have, that problem. You start telling jokes, but at the end, you never, remember the punchline. Yes, that's it. And what is the punchline in English? Not in Spanish, of course. Can you explain me? Any of you? It could be Kim or Tiare. What
I
is the
guess like
punchline?
the funniest part of the joke.
Yeah, yeah. Usually this is the last line, right? The last line of a funny story, which reveals the joke at the end. Good, that's it. Okay, let's go to number 2, because number 2 is very important. Here we have, you see there is a photo in the book, a photo. Yeah, in this, so what is the idea? We have to look at the photo and it says which group of words. We have 2 groups, as you see, group A and group B. So which group of words, A or B, do you think are from the story of the photo? Right? Working, in pairs, you and Tiare, for example, Kimberly and Tiare, compare your ideas and explain your reasons. For example, Tiare, what do you think? You only have the photo. You haven't, listened to the story yet, but you have only a photo here. So can you explain each other? A says looking after it and food and water, empty cage, searched everywhere, taking a bath. And B, our house was like a zoo, and then jump in the air above the kitchen sink, a lid on a tank, and there was some water in it. Okay, can you, exchange, um, both of you, your ideas? What do you think the photo or from this photo is from the story, but which group of words do you think are from the story of the photo?
I think maybe letter A.
Yeah, why letter A? Can you explain to Gary why?
Um, because underneath there's like a bird, a parrot maybe.
Yeah,
So, and it has empty cage. So maybe it's talking about um, the cage of this animal. I don't
yeah,
know. It's just an idea.
okay. And what about you, Tiare? What do you think?
What is a cage?
Cage. Well, a cage is a metal, usually is a metal, enclosed, right, place where pets are usually kept. Can you understand? Can you imagine what I'm telling you to discover what it is? Where do you put, for example, your pets? If you have a pet in the house, like a parrot, for example, a parrot, or any kind of bird, we usually put in this place, which is called cage, which is, something that is made of metal, right?
Okay.
Enclosed, it's enclosed place, and where pets, are kept. So can you
So
imagine? Hmm?
I agree with Kimberly.
You agree with Kimberly. You think that the photo, I mean, maybe the story of the photo corresponds to, the group of words that we have in letter A. And what do you think
Yeah.
that we have here? A cage. Yeah. Why cage? Why are you thinking about the cage?
Uh, I think that a cage is still the freedom of animals.
So do you think that an animal, I mean, not an animal, like a pet, because, well, there are big cages, of course. When you go to the zoo, for example, we have big cages. In the house, maybe we can have a small cage, you see? Or if you have a yard, maybe a front yard or a backyard, you can also have a cage where you can have your birds, right? Okay. And we usually put, these birds as pets, right? In cages. And in the zoo, I don't know, have you seen animals, in the zoo? Have you seen them in cages?
Yes.
Yes?
I mean, they are cages, even though they have the scene is similar to their normal habitat. I still think that it's a cage.
Yeah. And do you think that they feel free in these cages?
No, probably no.
No, I don't think so. I agree with you. I think that the animals, animals, especially animals, I mean, suffer when they are in cages. And Kimberly, you have had the experience of living in the United States. Did you have the opportunity to visit a zoo in the States or no?
Yes, and they were very big, like very very big, but
Yeah,
still it's the same condition. I mean, they take care of the animals because
yeah,
they're not like in the zoo of Quilpue, which the animals are like dead almost,
yeah.
but they're still not in their normal habitat, like free or all of that. So I think it's the same idea, even though they take good care of them.
Yeah, yeah. And you, Tiare, have you ever been to a zoo?
Yes.
Where? In Quilpue,
Um,
in Santiago?
Winslow and Kilpue.
Ah, Quilpue.
Oh,
Okay.
and Kilpue.
All right. And which is better?
Um, Ninguno, either,
None of
neither.
them. None of them. Okay, none of them. None of them. All right. None of them. Good. Yeah, because when I was in the state, I visited some zoos in the state of California, right? And the one that I went was really impressive, right? It was marvelous. I mean, the animals were free. You see, they were not in cages. It was a very big, immense place, a big area. So where you could see, the animals. I mean, not in cages. No, they were not in cages. That was very interesting for our group because we were used to seeing animals, all the time in cages in Chile, right? And we saw people, as Kimberly said, people in charge of the zoo. They were, you see, taking care of all the animals. They were all the time around near the animals. They used to feed them, with love. So that was very different from what I've seen in my country. So I agree with you. Okay, let's go to this. We are going to listen to this story and we're going to see if we are right or if we are wrong, because the idea is we're going to listen to two stories, okay? And we have to discover which one matches, the photo. And what would a photo of the other story show? Okay, so for this, I have to share the screen with you. So give me a second. Yeah, okay. So I have to look for life 4. Here it is. Right. Right. And this is unit 3, right? Life 4. Right. Unit 3. And 3D for the priorities. Here it is. Yeah, this is the unit, you see? So what we're going to do is we are going to listen to this to find out, the correct information and to discover which of these 2 stories matches the photo, right? Let's listen to this. Use the audio control. Okay. Well, but just sabi na. Show.
One.
Ito.
Did I ever tell you about the time we had a lot of animals? Our house was a zoo. No, I don't think so. Well, among other things, we had these goldfish. They were really huge, and they lived in a fish tank above the kitchen sink. But these 2 fish were really active. They loved to jump in the air, especially when someone was doing the dishes. No way. Seriously. After we saw it the first time, we put a lid across the top of the tank. So a couple of weeks later, I came into the kitchen one morning and the tank was empty. No fish. Oh no. Oh yes. During the night, the fish had jumped out of the tank. They were lying in the sink. Fortunately, there was some water in it. That's incredible. 2. I remember once a couple of years ago, we were looking after this friend's parrot when he was on a business trip. Anyway, after a few days, I realized that this parrot knew how to open its cage. Really? Yes. It happened a couple of times. When I went out, the parrot was in its cage. And when I got back home, it had gotten out. So one day, I was at work when all of a sudden I remembered that I hadn't given the bird food and water. I immediately rushed back home and there it was, the empty cage again. I searched everywhere. I was going around the house calling, Polly, Polly, here, Polly, Polly, but I couldn't find it. What happened then? Well, the next thing was I started to panic. So I went into the kitchen to make tea, and guess what? There was the bird. It was taking a bath in my teacup. That's unbelievable.
Okay, so let's listen to it again as if you were in a test.
Did I ever tell you about the time we had a lot of animals? Our house was a zoo. No, I don't think so. Well, among other things, we had these goldfish. They were really huge, and they lived in a fish tank above the kitchen sink. But these 2 fish were really active. They loved to jump in the air, especially when someone was doing the dishes. No way. Seriously. After we saw it the first time, we put a lid across the top of the tank. So a couple of weeks later, I came into the kitchen one morning and the tank was empty. No fish. Oh no. Oh yes. During the night, the fish had jumped out of the tank. They were lying in the sink. Fortunately, there was some water in it. That's incredible. 2. I remember once a couple of years ago, we were looking after this friend's parrot when he was on a business trip. Anyway, after a few days, I realized that this parrot knew how to open its cage. Really? Yes. It happened a couple of times. When I went out, the parrot was in its cage. And when I got back home, it had gotten out. So one day, I was at work when all of a sudden I remembered that I hadn't given the bird food and water. I immediately rushed back home and there it was, the empty cage again. I searched everywhere. I was going around the house calling, Polly, Polly, here, Polly, Polly, but I couldn't find it. What happened then? Well, the next thing was I started to panic. So I went into the kitchen to make tea, and guess what? There was the bird. It was taking a bath in my teacup.
That's unbelievable.
Okay. All right. So,
1.
Did I ever tell you about the time we had a lot of animals?
okay. So, listen here. We have, we have just listened to these two stories. So we have to answer to this question that says which one matches the photo. According to you, according to what you listened to, what would a photo of the other story show? Yeah. First, which one matches the photo? The first or the second story?
The
The
first
second.
one? O sea, the second.
The second, right? The second, right?
Yes.
The second story. Yeah, because and says what would a photo of the other story show? It would the other photo would show maybe a fish, not a parrot. Here we're seeing a parrot, so that's why I think it's the second story. Do you remember, according, to your memory, do you remember the second story? Can you tell me a little bit? Just retell the story. According to the facts, you remember the second story. The lady that is telling us this story, she said that this happened a couple of years ago, I think, right? Yeah. What was she looking after?
You're talking about the
The second story,
one.
the real
Yeah, so,
one.
yeah, the second story was about a bird that that he got lost,
Yeah.
and the woman tried search for him everywhere, and then she noticed that he had opened the cage, right?
Yeah.
And so she searched for it around the house, and then she noticed that this parrot, Pally, I think it was her name.
Yeah, Polly. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
name.
Polly. Yeah, she was taking a bath in a cup of tea.
Yeah. So there she was. You see, she was taking a bath in her cup of tea. Yes. And you see, this happened because I think I'm not pretty sure, but I think that they were looking, this parrot, but the parrot wasn't hers. I think the parrot was from a friend, right? That maybe this friend was, on a business trip, something like that, and that's why maybe this person decided to maybe to ask, some help, and that's why she was, taking care of this parrot. And what about the first story, Tiare? Can you tell me the first story? The first story that is also very funny, I think.
Yes, a girl says that her house was like a zoo.
Yeah, it was like a
because,
zoo. Exactly. Yeah.
because she had a bird. She had a goldfish.
Yeah.
And it jumps in the air.
In the air. Yeah. Okay. So the goldfish used to jump in the air, right? So it was the goldfish was very active, as you can see, because he loved,
Yes.
jumping all the time in the air. Okay. What else?
And the fish one day jumped
Yeah.
from a tank to another
Uh-huh.
because the tank was empty of water.
Mm-hmm.
So she found it in another place.
Yeah. Okay. So this goldfish was, as I told you, was very active, because they loved, to jump, you see, in the air. Especially, she says that he used to do this, especially when someone, was doing the dishes, or when, yeah, that's the idea. So that was very funny, you see, maybe to see him or this, goldfish jumping. So after this, after they saw this, what did they do? Did they put something or not? What did they do with the tank? With the tank? Do you remember?
I didn't remember.
Yeah, Kimberly, do you remember? What did they put? Because remember that the goldfish started, they loved jumping in the air. So they decided to do something to avoid this. What did they put? They put up, something like this is the tank, the tank, and maybe there was nothing on the top of the tank, and that's why maybe this goldfish started, jumping in the air. So to avoid this, they decided to put a what? Do you remember, Kim?
No, miss, I don't remember. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So they decided to put a lid, L-I-D, lid. Lid, a cover, means a cover, a lid, right? They put it a lid, you see, across the tank. So in this way, they expected, not to have these this goldfish, sorry, jumping in the air all the time. Yeah, but he was very intelligent, I think. I mean, goldfish are very intelligent, Okay, but it was a funny story anyway, because then, this goldfish, the first time when they started looking for it, or for them, because I think there were more than one, they were lying, to see, on the, how do you call the place where you wash the dishes? On the, how do you call it? Yeah, on the sink. Yes, they were lying on the sink. Fortunately, there was some water, you see, because they need water. So maybe nothing serious happened, right, to the goldfish. Okay, but this is a nice story. I think it's a cute story. Okay, according to the next exercise that has to do with this story, babies, it says here, look at the expressions for telling stories, these expressions that we have here. Listen to the stories again. We just listened to the stories twice, so we're not going to listen to it again. And we're going to mark the expression that the speakers, use. For example, in the first case, when they start telling the story, when you begin a story, how did they begin the story? Do you remember?
A couple of years ago?
Yeah, it's okay. A couple of years ago, this one, yes, this is correct. A couple of years ago, also, do you remember when he says, did I ever, when the person started, say, did I ever tell you about the time we had a lot of animals? And he says that our house was a zoo. Well,
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
yeah, so maybe he uses this one too, right? Okay, and then also the other speaker, uses I remember once, you see, so maybe, yeah, correct. So these are correct. I think these are the three ones that the speakers, used in the story. So something interesting to keep in mind, when we always tell story, we always start with a beginning, right? So when you begin, you can use any of these linguistic, let's say structures, right? Or functions. We say, for example, did I ever tell you about, for example, about the time my mother used to have lots of animals in my house, da, 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 and then you continue with the story. Or you can say, I remember once, a friend of mine, had to travel, you see, along the country to do business. And he asked me, to keep his pet. Okay, so you can start this way too. Or just a couple of years ago, you see, for example, a couple of years ago, a friend of mine asked me to keep, his pet. And then you continue with the story. All right, so you never believe what happened once. You can also start with this. Yeah, but in this case, the speaker didn't use this linguistic function. He used the others. Okay, so remember, because you can use any of these when you tell a story. Now, we always, when we tell a story, well, we start with the beginning and then we continue. When you say, when things happened, you continue with the story, when you develop, the story itself. Well, in this case, do you remember some of the linguistic functions these speakers used? For example, when he said, for example, in the first story, when they were talking about the goldfish, they say, no way, when he starts, telling us about the story when the goldfish started jumping, right? And especially when someone was doing the dishes and the other person says, no way, seriously, after we saw it the first time, we put a lid. across the tank. So you see here, this is the one that the speaker, uses when he says, after we sew it, we put a lid. So yeah, this is correct. You see, after we sew it, we put a lid across the tank. All right. Now, do you remember the others that the speakers used here?
During the night.
Yeah, where is it? Okay. During the night. Wait a minute. All right. Yeah, this is there. Okay. Bien. Okay. All right. So during the night, yes, this is correct. Is there another? They used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of these linguistic functions. Do you remember? Yes.
A couple of weeks later, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's correct. Yes, you're right. And also this one, after a few days. After a few days.
Immediately.
Yeah, immediately. Let's see. Yes, correct. Immediately. Immediately. Yeah. Is there another one that you remember?
While I was, or no?
No. While I was, he didn't use it. Maybe the next thing was probably it. Yeah, this one. Yes, he used this one. And I'm going to help you. And he also, well, this is immediately. Yeah. All of a sudden, this is very common when you start, saying when things happen. All of a sudden, you see, when I return home, all of a sudden, the parrot wasn't at home and he started looking for it. Yeah, these are, I think, we have 1, 2, a couple of weeks later. Yeah. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think one is missing. After a few days, yeah, it's okay. A couple of weeks, it's okay. After we saw, yeah, that's correct too. After we saw. One day, this is the one that is missing. Yeah, this is the other one. One day, right? Okay. Next exercise. Let's see the next one. Come on. Up to there. Yeah. Okay. In number 5, go to number 5 because in number 5, what you have, baby, there is it says only one of the stories is true. Which one do you think it is? Well, we know which one is true. They say only one of the stories is true. Which one do you think it is? Well, we can have a maybe we have a discussion here. Yeah, the parrot one. Why do you think the parrot?
Because it felt more believable to me, but I'm not sure if it's true.
Yeah, I think the first one is true. I agree. It happened to the author, right? And because the lid, maybe it is supposed that the lid partially, covered the tank, but the fish had knocked it off, had, escaped anyway. Both fish survived and were lucky not to have been eaten by the family cat, because the story doesn't tell us that the family, had a cat, but the family had a cat. So you see, the goldfish, were very lucky because they could survive. And fortunately, the cat didn't see the goldfish, because what would have happened if the cat had seen the goldfish? Can you answer this? Is a type number 3, if conditional question 3. What would have happened if the cat had seen the goldfish? Yeah.
She would have eaten the fish.
Yeah. Okay. So the cat, would have eaten, yes, the fish, the goldfish. Right. Do you have any idea about the goldfish? Have you ever seen a goldfish in your life? What color do goldfish have? What color?
Yellow, I guess.
Yellow. It's shiny. It's yellow. It's almost like you see, shiny gold. That's why it's yellow. Shiny gold. Or sometimes orange fish. Orange fish that is often kept as a pet, right? In a bowl. Some people have them in a bowl, you see, or in a tank, right? Or sometimes in garden pool. Yeah, but do you think it's a good idea, babies, to have these goldfish in a tank or in let's say in a bowl or in a swimming pool? What do you think? Start, discussing this, both of you. Is it a good idea or do you think it's a bad idea? If it is good, why? If it is bad, why?
I think it is bad because the fish need more space
Yeah. Okay.
and they need a special water.
Yeah. Okay. And what happens if you have the goldfish, Yare, in a swimming pool, which is it's a bigger place most of the time. Although if we have a swimming pool for kids, we have a lot of water there. What
Yes,
about that space? Or you think that that space is not also, the one that goldfish needs?
it
Mhm.
is better, but I think that they use a fish like a un
Uh,
entretenimiento.
yeah, so as a pet, because they are pets, in other words, right? Okay, Tiare, thank you for your, contribution to this, brief discussion. And Kimberly, what do you think? Do you agree with Tiare?
Yes, I agree with her. Because fish need to be in the ocean. So even though it's a swimming pool,
Yeah.
still the space is not big enough, and for them, because they need to interact with other fish and live like a normal fish life.
Yeah, yeah.
And if they are kept in a cage, or I mean in a tank
Mm.
or in a swimming pool, it's not good enough, I feel.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's not the right place, right? This is not the place where they are supposed, to live. Yes, I agree with you. Not, these pets shouldn't be, kept in cages or in bowls or in tanks, right? Like in the case of goldfish. Okay, good. Thank you. Let's continue with the other part. It says pronunciation in number 6. It's a pity that I can move this. Well, let me see if I start from the beginning. Yeah, in number 6 here we have pronunciation, right? You see, it says pronunciation, number 6. And it says, listen to the sentences from the stories in exercise 3. Yeah, so we have the exercise 3 here. And notice the sound, you see, in was and were. Okay, this is something interesting for you to know because you are going to be teachers, and as teachers, we should know, important facts about the language. In this case, we're talking about baby's pronunciation, right? And I think it is important for you to know that in all these, in these sentences in letter B, right, where we have the examples, was and were, you see, are auxiliary verbs. If you notice the sentences, for example, here, especially when someone, I'm reading here because I cannot see very well, especially when someone was doing, you see, was doing the dishes. And then in the next one says they were lying in the sink and they were looking after this friend's parrot. And I was going around the house calling Polly. Yeah, if you notice here, since you know about, for example, the use of the past continuous, here you see that was doing, were lying, were looking, and was going. Was and were are here used as auxiliary verbs. They are not the main verbs because the main verbs here are doing, lying, looking after, and going around. Okay, so these auxiliary verbs are helping in this case, you see, to form, the past continuous. So the main verb is the one that is stressed. This is something important. And the auxiliaries are always unstressed. That's why you see was and where is pronounced, with a chua, like okay? So because they are unstressed, okay? So in this case, you pronounce like you see unstressed sounds. For example, you see, especially when someone was doing, you see, was doing, was, not was, nothing to do with that. Okay, was doing, because what we stress is in the verb was doing. You see, so you put the emphasis on the main verb, doing, was doing, was doing. The same as in the second one. They were lying, you see, so we stress here, lying, they were lying, you see, in the sink. In the third happens the same. They were looking after, you see, we say they were looking after this French parrot. And in number 4, it occurs the same fact. I was going around the house calling Paulie. Did you understand this? So that's why this pronunciation is was well. Okay, maybe you studied this in phonetics last semester when these, are unstressed, not stressed. Okay, this usually happens in most of the tenses, right? When we have, for example, an auxiliary and when you have a verb. Usually the verbs, the main verbs, are the ones that are stressed, and the ones that are, you see, as auxiliaries are the ones that are, unstressed. Okay, do you understand or not? Tiare?
Yes.
Yeah. And Kimberly? Okay, so as practicing, can you read these? For example, number 1 and number 2, you read Tiare, and Kimberly, you read number 3 and number 4. Remember that you have to stress on the main verb in was and where become unstressed. Okay? Yeah. Practice. Read the first.
Especially when someone was doing the dishes.
Yeah.
They were lying in the sink.
Okay. And Kimberly, 3 and 4.
We were looking after this friend's parrot.
Yes.
I was going around the house calling Polly.
Yeah, good. Very good. Yeah. In number 7, what do we have here in number 7? It says in number 7, we have to work in pairs again and choose one of the stories from exercise 3 and take a role. Well, the idea here is to maybe change roles and repeat with the other story. Okay, but what is the idea? Maybe the idea is to retell, in other words, the stories from the exercise number 3, the ones that we listened to. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat because we just, did something similar before. So I'm going to go directly to number 8, where we are going to tell, you see, our partners here about something that happened to you or to someone, maybe someone that you know. So you have to at least, one part of the story should be untrue, not true. Think about this, untrue. Use expressions for telling stories to help you. Remember, did I ever tell you I remember once, etc. And after and then when you finish, you say finally, or maybe you can use other structures. In the end, also, right? Or eventually, when you finish. Okay, can you tell something? So, and then we have the idea is then at the end we have to guess which part of your partner's story is untrue. So think about a minute about a story, or maybe it could be something that has happened or happens to you or to a friend, and remember that at least one part of the story should be untrue. And this is the one that when she tells us the story, we have to try to guess it. Okay? Something short and sweet, but try to be very clear using these linguistic functions that we have here in telling stories.
Okay, I'm going to start.
Yeah, okay. So Tiare, be attentive because we have to discover which part of the story that Kimberly is going to tell us is untrue. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
A couple of years ago, my family and I went to the aquarium and it was a very marvelous place. It was so pretty, and we saw a lot of different animals. And I like seals a lot, so
Yeah.
we saw the seals show,
Yeah. Nice.
and one of them uh, kissed me on the cheek. It was a very good experience because since then I love seals, and I forgot the other name, wolfers, something like that. The ones that have like really sharp teeth.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's my story.
Oh, nice. Nice story. Okay. Tiare, did you like the story?
Yes.
Yeah. And can you guess which part of the story is not true?
I don't know because I believe in her. She loves the seals.
Ah, yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. This is something that yeah, I mean, because you are telling me now that Kim loves, seals. Okay, yeah. But any part of the story, yeah, you believe that maybe could not be true here, although she loves seals.
Mm, I think
Mm?
that the kiss was untrue, false.
Mm, I was thinking about the same thing. Yeah, is that right, Kim, or not?
Yes, that's the
Ah,
false.
yeah, me too. I thought about the same about the kiss. Yeah. Okay, good. That I also, when I went to the zoo in San Diego, Kimberly, I went to San Diego Zoo. That is very immense. It's very big. And I also, could have the opportunity to see the shows, to admire, you see the beauty of the shows. It's really unbelievable. So if you had, Tiara, the opportunity one day to go, especially to that place, to San Diego in California, try to go because this is really beautiful. It's unbelievable. You can see how intelligent, for example, the seals, you see dolphins, etc. are, right? It's very beautiful, the show. Okay, and what about you, Tiare? Do you have any story to tell us? And then we have to discover which part is not true. You have the chance. Feel free. Remember, feel comfortable. Nobody's going to tell you anything. So this is your time to start, telling us
Mm.
your story.
The other day, I went to the supermarket with my grandmother,
Mhm.
and I hate it because I hate spending time with her.
Mhm. Okay. Mm. All right.
Okay, so I think the part that is untrue is the fact that she hates
Yeah.
spending time with her grandmother, because I know for a fact that she loves spending time with her.
Ah, okay, maybe I thought something similar because it's difficult to hate our grandmas, right? It's not very common. Well, sometimes we have discovered some stories about, grandmas that are not very nice, with their grandsons or grandchildren. But in this case, I think most of the time we love, our grandmas, right? So is that right, Tere?
Yes.
Yes, okay, good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, babies, as you see, this is a very short unit. It's only one page, 3D, right? Only one page. But I want you to be very clear about the vocabulary, which is about cage, that I told Tiare that cage is a metal enclosed, place where we usually keep, pets, right? And
Jofe,
yes,
what are some examples of the topics that are going to be in the speaking test, regarding these units that we've been seeing?
yeah, for example, in this case, what are we going to do? For example, in the case of having our speaking test, we can ask you, okay, imagine that because we are going to give you pieces of paper, so you have to give us the number, right? We're going to have the piece of paper here, and you give the number, and we tell you what the topic is. And we can imagine that you say number 10, and imagine that number 10 says, okay, tell us a story, a story that has happened to you or to someone that you know well. You have 1 minute to tell the story. You see?
Oh, okay. And it can also be about like the videos that we've been watching,
Yeah,
or
yeah, it could also be
okay,
about the videos, the
okay,
videos
good.
that we have watched, right? So the idea is to have the ability, to tell a story, especially using some important. It's important to keep in mind, for example, the linguistic functions. Like, for example, I remember once, and then you start in this way, or you can start. There are different ways that you can start a story. I mean, not only saying that linguistic functions, right? You can also use it all began, for example, or at the beginning, or it was a hot summer day when I and my best friend decided to go to, let's say, on vacation, for example, right? And then you continue with the other functions, right? And after we arrived, for example, at the place, or after a few days, that we stayed in a hotel, we decided to move to another place because the one that we stayed was not very comfortable, etc., etc. Right? This is the idea. Okay, so maybe to use these functions that we have here and others, not only this one, because there are other linguistic functions that we can use. Okay, and from this unit, what you have to know is the vocabulary, in case that we have words that you have to know what tank is. Remember that tank in English, we call tank, for example, could be well, of course that this is a place, right? It's in this time, this is what the author, the speaker is telling us is a large glass box. This is the idea of tank, a large glass box, right? Which may be full of water, right? For keeping, fish or reptiles. That's the idea. And in Spanish, we can call this pecera, because this is where we keep, for example, fish most of the time, right? Okay, we can also have other meanings like depósitos de agua, you see, tanques. But in this case, I think the best meaning is this. This is a large glass box, which may be full of water for keeping fish or reptiles. And then, well, the other one I told you, and maybe a punchline. If they ask you what a punchline is, we have to tell you that the punchline is the last line of a funny story, which, reveals the joke. That's the punchline. So these are maybe the words that you should know in terms of vocabulary. And also, you say lid. Lid, which is the cover, right? Cover, the cover of something, lid. And also we have here sink, right? Which is the kitchen sink. This is the basin in the kitchen. We also use basin in English, especially in British English. Basin is used in kitchens and also in the bathroom. In the bathroom is the hand basin, because you use it when you wash your hands, right? In the kitchen is what we call, basin two, or kitchen basin, or just basin, right? Or the other one that we use is sink, which is another, word that we use to express the same thing, sink, okay? Que es el lavaplatos, en este caso. And hand sink, where the one that you find it in the bathroom, is the one that we call lavamanos in Spanish, right?
Profe,
Yes.
sorry that I'm talking Spanish, pero ¿cómo se dice a la llave del lavamanos?
Todas son tap, son tap, la de claro, tap.
Okay.
El tap water, right? Okay, looking after, so you know all the vocabulary here, the ones that we have to know that I told you. These are the ones. Goldfish. What is a goldfish? If they ask goldfish, well, goldfish is usually small, right? That's why they are in this, tank. It's a small, shiny, gold or orange fish, that is often kept as a pet in a bowl or in a garden pool or just in a tank. Okay, these are the things that you have to, keep in mind with this. The other words are known by us, right? Tiare, do you have another word that you don't know here in this part of this unit that is very short and sweet?
Punchline.
Punchline? Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one that I told you. I just told you. Punchline is the last line. I told you, the last line of a funny story that reveals, the joke. That's the punchline. In Spanish, we call, es como decirte, el remate del chiste, la parte final. That's the punchline, right? Okay, but this is the if you have to define, is the one that I told you, the last line of a funny story which reveals, the joke. Okay, and the well, depict, for example, the situation. If you explain the situation depicted in the picture. Well, depicted in English always means represented, right? Depict, D-E-P-I-C-T-E, depicted, maybe represented, synonym, represented, depicted. That's a very good word to use instead of represent. Depicted, when you say the situation depicted in the photo, for example. Okay? Yeah. Then after that, después de eso, we have, this is Ricardo Núñez. It's going to be in charge. Ricardo Núñez. Yeah. Then we have the review. Después en el review, que tienen que hacerlo. You have to do it.
Profe, today, Mr. Ricardo was going to do the story that we already had done, the one about the guy crashing into the ocean that he had to surf, remember?
Sí, será mía.
I don't know why. I think he got confused, but he didn't do it. He ended up doing the one that you just showed, the one that it's like the river that is very polluted. I think he got confused.
A y B. Él era A y B. Letra A, letra B. Yo letra C y letra D. Qué cómico, porque I just talked to him last night. Ese 2-2. Él mismo me dijo 2-2. Ya, entonces yo D, and then en I. Después I, él, what a weekend, I. Y después él, Ricardo, is going to check 3F. And I supposed to check, the review, el review, que es la tarea, y I am going to start, I'm going to start with the unit number 4. I'm going to start with that, with number 4, that is about opportunities, right? I don't know why, maybe I'm going to call him, why he confused? Because we just talked last night.
Yeah, but he didn't went through the story because we told him, because also Jose was on with me in the
Good.
So he didn't end up doing it.
Yeah. CD y yo el EF, él tiene que EF and review as a homework. So babies, you do the review. Usted tiene que hacer esto. You have to do the review, and if you want, si ustedes quieren, porque nos queda tiempo, we can start working it. Podemos revisarlo. We can review the first part here, right? It says, if you remember what you have studied in the unit, although we haven't finished, a pesar de que no hemos terminado, we haven't finished the unit. Or maybe we can wait for tomorrow, or esperamos hasta mañana. It's because Ricardo, does he have classes tomorrow or not? Does Ricardo have classes tomorrow?
No, tomorrow no. He has classes with us on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yeah. Yeah, so maybe we can have this one, the review for Friday. Dejémoslo para el viernes. This one, the review for Friday. I mean, because you have to finish the units. Para que termine las unidades, finish the units. And then I'm going to start. Y yo puedo entonces partir ya. I'm going to go home here. Voy a ir a la casita. Home. Yeah. Number 4, this one. I'm going to start with this. Entonces yo voy a partir, voy a introducir acá, here. Opportunities, yeah? Number 4. I'm going to go little by little. Vamos a ir de a poquito, little by little. Unit number 4, which is about, you see, it says here, opportunities. Okay? Well, can you see or not? Está muy chiquitita la letra.
Yeah, we can see it.
Ah, good. Ahí está. That's better. I can see better. Yeah, it says work in pairs. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Work in pairs. Look at the photo. It says, how old do you think the children are? What do you think they study in the school? In school, sorry. Do you think they like school? Yeah, look at the picture. Pay attention to the picture. The picture is very beautiful. Yeah, so we have here school children. They are school children, I think, or no? Yes. Okay, so how old do you think the children are? Remember, they are school children, okay? So this is what we have.
Probably like 9
Mhm.
or 8.
Yeah, okay, maybe they are 9 or 10, yeah? 9 or
Yeah.
10 years old, yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
And I think they like school very much because they
Yeah,
seem very happy. So
yeah, I agree. I think because they look very happy, yes. And what do you think they study in school?
mm, I don't know. Probably the same thing that the basic subjects that all the school have.
Yeah, okay. So maybe they are in elementary school because of their age. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they study similar subjects that we have in elementary, school. Yes. Okay. In number
And,
two, yeah,
and
something that,
maybe
uh-huh.
their uniforms is telling us that they believe in a certain religion. I don't know.
Yeah,
Probably.
maybe. We don't know. Yes. Yeah, because they are all the uniform they are wearing, you see, is very special. You see?
And they are not wearing shoes as well, so
Yeah, so they are not wearing
probably
shoes.
means
So
something.
yeah, they are in bare feet. Pies descalzos. Do you know how to say that? Bare feet. B-A-R-E. Bare. Bare feet. B-A-R-E. Bare feet. They are in bare feet. Bare feet. Yeah, and they wear special, maybe kind of uniform. Maybe this is a special kind of a school. Maybe they belong to, as you say, special religion. Yeah, maybe we can discover that. I think they are from India, right? But we don't know. We're going to discover in the unit that we
Yeah, but definitely some place in Asia.
in Asia. Yeah, because of the, do you see their faces? Look
Mm-hmm.
at their faces, you see? So maybe, yeah, here, for example, this face. So maybe they are from Asia or from some parts near that, place. Okay. And in number 2 says, did you want to do any of these jobs did you want to do any of these jobs when you were a child? When you were a child, pay attention to this. Did you want to do any of these jobs when you were a child? For example, athlete, movie star, train conductor, ballerina, police officer, vet, firefighter, rock star, pilot, scientist. Okay, athlete. Do you know athlete? Everybody knows athlete. Athlete, someone who's good at sports, such as running, jumping, throwing things, etc. That's an athlete.
Yes, I wanted to be a movie star and a vet.
Yeah, okay. You wanted to be a movie star and a vet. Okay. Yeah. And why? Maybe because did you know someone at that age, or did you used to see movies about a movie star maybe? Or did you know someone that was a vet when you were a child? Or just because you loved animals when you were
Yes,
a child?
just because I love dogs.
Uh,
Dogs.
yeah. Okay. Only dogs.
Yes.
Only dogs. Do you like, for example, cats?
Yes, I like them, but I love cat. I love dogs and horses
Uh-huh. Okay, horses. Good. And why movie star? Why-
because I love actress.
You love actresses. Okay, actresses. All right. And you, Kimberly, which of these, jobs you wanted to do when you were a child?
I remember I wanted to be a police officer. I don't know why. I was just very naive.
Okay.
And like Tiara said, I also wanted to be a vet, and but then I realized I don't really like that many animals, and I hate like seeing blood and all of that. So I would have been a terrible vet.
Yeah, okay, good. You know, for example, I remember my brothers also liked when they were, maybe children, when they were like 7 or 8 years old. They always talked about, being a firefighter. I remember, and pilot and train conductor. They like that, train conductor. So that's very interesting. Do you know train conductor? What is a train conductor? What does he do? Train conductor. Do you know that? Hmm. Any idea about train conductor?
No,
Because
really.
it's not the same as when we say, for example, um, train conductor and train driver. It's not the same, right? Train conductor and train driver. Because train conductor refers, to the person that most of the time, takes tickets, right? It makes, for example, schedule announcement. Also attends, passengers' needs and questions and safety. That's, the job of a train conductor. Do you remember that when, well, maybe it's not the same as you, but I remember when I was a girl, I really loved traveling by train. And I remember that the train conductor, you see, after the train, started, traveling, going to different places, and started, asking passengers for the tickets. And he used to have a special kind of scissors. It was not a scissor, but it was a special scissor, and they used to cut some pieces of the ticket so as to see that we were right. I don't know what happens today because many years, I think many years have passed since the last time that I traveled by train. So I don't know what they do today. Today you have, I think, a card, a special card, so you don't need the ticket, I think, today, but I'm not sure. Okay, that's a train conductor. Most of these jobs we know. Ballerina, ballerina. Ballerina is the female ballet dancer. Ballerina. Police officer, we know all of these, right? Now, number 3 says, which words describe the jobs in exercise 2? Yeah. Which of these jobs do you think describe, I mean, which words describe the jobs in exercise 2? For example, badly paid. Badly paid. Do you think which one is badly paid? Not well paid? Dirty?
Firefighter?
Firefighter, yeah, but in Chile, are they paid?
No,
No.
No, they are not paid, right? Yeah. Dirty job. What is a dirty job?
that it requires to get more like I don't know, physical, or like to experiment with like dirt and all that. So
Yeah,
maybe the vet,
yeah,
probably,
maybe, yeah.
when she sees, or when the person like a vet sees a cow and stuff like that,
All right.
farm
Yeah,
animals.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Uh, rewarding, right? Rewarding means satisfying, right? Satisfying, rewarding, gratificante, rewarding. What could be rewarding from these jobs? Pilot, science.
Probably a firefighter or a scientist, because a firefighter helps uh, to rescue people
Yeah, good.
terrible situations. So I
Yeah,
think it's a very rewarding feeling after they save people or save a house and all of that.
yeah, I agree. What do you think, Tiare? Do you agree with Kim?
Yes, I agree with her.
Yeah, okay. And what about, for example, responsible? What words describe the jobs that, you know, needs responsibility or implies responsibility. Well, I think scientists, of course, that's very important. It involves a lot of responsibility. So you have to be responsible when you are a scientist. Well, in the case of also um, maybe a vet, also responsible, firefighter, I think. Most of the jobs, I think we have to be responsible. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I think in all of these lists, all of them require responsibility.
Yeah,
Especially,
I
I think
yeah.
for like a police officer, because they have a lot of tasks and a lot of work to do
Mm,
all the time, and they even have to work when it's holidays or vacations and all of that. So I think they are very responsible when it comes to that, because
yeah,
they're always available.
yeah. Okay. And let's say stressful, for example, which of the jobs of these jobs we can think of that implies responsibility or implied responsibility. I mean, sorry, a stressful job. Which one could be a stressful job? Stressful. Well, sometimes a police officer, I think it's very stressful, especially nowadays. Police officer is stressful. I think it's not easy, right? What about a pilot? What words could you describe the job of a pilot? Boring, exciting, routine, well paid, dangerous, glamorous, satisfying, demanding, responsible, secure, stressful, rewarding, dirty, badly paid. Pilot. What about pilot? What adjectives do you use to describe the job of a pilot? Tiare, which ones?
Dangerous.
Dangerous? Okay. Yeah.
Mm,
Only that? Dangerous?
maybe well paid.
Yeah, okay, well paid. Pilots are well paid, yes. Mm-hmm.
And exciting, I think.
Exciting. Yeah, I think it's exciting. Yeah, very exciting. You never know, I mean, what could happen when they are flying, right? Exciting, yes. Mm, demanding, I think also. Demanding. Demanding means needing a lot of time, attention, and effort. Es exigente, demanding, right? Okay, all right. Now, let's see. Here we don't have, other jobs, but if we define maybe our job as a teacher, we can think that, the job of a teacher is rewarding, I think, stressful, exciting, and satisfying, yeah, demanding, responsible, etc.
Glamorous.
Glamour at a certain point, not at a certain extent, right? Okay. In number 4, it says, answer this question. This is the introduction of the unit, baby, of unit 4. It says, what job have you always wanted to do? What job have you always wanted to do? Say, I have always wanted to.
I have always wanted to be a model
A model. Okay. Why a model?
because I love
Mm.
teen people
Uh-huh.
and makeup and the photos. I love
Mm.
photos.
Okay. All right. And you, Kimberly?
I've always wanted to be like that commercial lady, like an actress sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting too. All right. And which job do you do now or plan to do? Do you do any job now, or do you plan to do any job?
I am a babysitter.
You're a babysitter. Okay, a babysitter. All right. Good. Babysitter. Right. Because you are taking care of your you know, brothers, little brothers, right? So this is the job you're doing now. It's a very, I think, tiring job. It's a tiring job. It involves responsibility. It's let's say sometimes it's maybe, well, it could be rewarding. It's stressful also, etc. And you, Kimberly?
Right now, I have an online job which requires to teach people
Yeah,
from other places our native language, which is Spanish.
yeah,
So I've been doing that for a few months now.
yeah. But it's interesting. Very good. Anyway, good. And how would you describe your dream job? Wow, your dream job. Imagine your dream job. Oh, this is like we can dream, so it's free to dream. So, what would be, or what would you describe your dream job? My dream job would be, I don't know, you, Tiare, what would
Can I
be?
say
What?
empresaria?
Yeah, maybe you can say an entrepreneur, or businesswoman.
Business.
Businesswoman also. You can use these words. Businesswoman.
That is my dream. Be
That's,
a businesswoman
yeah,
and travel around all the world
yeah, okay.
and buy a lot of things in Miami.
Okay, so you would like to, your dream job would be, a businesswoman. Okay, a businesswoman and to travel, to have the opportunity to travel around the world. Yes, that's good. And you, Kim, what would be your dream job?
My dream job would be to be maybe an actress and I don't know, be like a famous movie star.
Yeah, nice. Okay, why not? Well, maybe in the future I'm going to see you, working, in the film industry. Okay, why not? Yeah, sometimes that we have English teachers working in the film, industry, because they are very important because of the language, right? So why not? It's a possibility. If you like, acting and these things that are important when teaching also, you see, because teachers are all the time acting. So I think it's a very good idea. And acting is connected, with teaching at the same time. It's a very interesting, let's say, job, or let's say possibility that we have, with our language. So people who have more than one language, it's a good possibility to work as an actress abroad. Maybe you would like, Kimberly, to work in the States, I think, or not? Not here in Chile.
um, I don't know, maybe Europe or something like that, something interesting.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it could be, yeah, it could be here or abroad, right? It could be here or abroad. Yes. Okay. Thank you, babies. Thank you very much. So, tomorrow morning, we are going to start with the unit number 4, right? Oops. This is just the introduction, right? To see what we're going to do. It's number 4A. This is what we're going to see tomorrow, 4A, and we're going to start using future for predictions little by little, okay? So we're going to stop here, and tomorrow morning, remember that it's at 8 o'clock. I hope that more people can be with us, because it worries me that I don't know what they are going to do in the oral test, right? So,
¿Podría detener